Mom, it says to stay home. Get out the battery radio and wait for more information.
Padre nuestro que estás en los cielos, santificado.
Late last night and early today, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela.
I came to Caracas to grieve with my mother after the loss of her husband, Nelson. He was my second father, and he died from an untreated heart condition. We were all afraid of the cost of surgery. His was one of thousands of deaths that could have been avoided in my country. Behind that mountain, El Avila, the military ships in the Caribbean Sea sent by the U.S. are pointing their guns at Venezuela. For months, U.S. President Donald Trump has ramped up pressure on Venezuela and its leader Nicolás Maduro, whom he accuses of narco-terrorism. At home, daily life goes on. There is a constant lack of running water. Back in Austria, my home in exile, my 15-year-old son is being taken care of by his father. There are 8 million of us Venezuelans living in exile. Venezuelans hope for a political change, but in reality, we're only spectators to what's happening. We don't know if the threats of an attack are real.
I mean, to be honest, if I were a fisherman, I wouldn't want to go fishing because I'd say, man, maybe they think I have drugs downstairs. I don't want that. I think the fishing business has probably been hurt, but there are literally no boats. This was a boat, and we were surprised to see it.
We've been seeing images like these since September 2nd, 2025. The U.S. is carrying out airstrikes on boats that are allegedly smuggling drugs. According to several experts, these attacks are in breach of international law. Some of the boats look like peñeros, the small fishing boats that I miss so much.
I go fishing every day, morning and afternoon, every single day of the year, whether it's a holiday, Christmas, or New Year.
No, we have to go. Because if we don't go fishing, how will we eat? How do we support our families, you know? You have to go. Because with what's happening right now, sometimes you're afraid to go out. 2 hours to sea to check things out. With everything that's going on with the boats, you wonder what's happening.
8 barcos militares con 1,200 misiles apuntan a Venezuela. Es una amenaza extravagante, injustificable y absolutamente criminal, sangrienta.
If I go out, people tell me to be careful because the ships, the gringos are out there. Whatever. I don't know these crazy people.
Not long ago, some colleagues from Choroní, if I'm not mistaken, were being chased by a helicopter. They told them to stop. The fishermen were covering their catch with a tarp, and they started shooting at them and hit their engine. Well, they made it back to the shore with a damaged engine, and that wasn't long ago.
And we're here, we're at the coast.
Exactly, we're on the coast. Here are the gringos, over there are the Venezuelans, and we're in the middle. So what do? If you go one way, you get shot. If you go the other way, you also get shot. So what do we do?
When Chavez was in power, I voted for Chavez. I did. But now things are complicated because of the current situation. Everything that's happening, it's not easy, you know. Because right now I have 3 children, and it's really hard, you understand? So thank God that I'm a farmer and a fisherman. I can support myself. Thank God, because otherwise, imagine what it would be like with this economy.
Seeing what's happening right now, I mean, I don't know if they're joking. What do they want? Because they say the land and the oil belong to them. I'm a Venezuelan. As I understand, all the land belongs to us, and the oil belongs to us. Everything here, all of this belongs to the Venezuelan people.
But why aren't we producing? We have everything. We import sugar, coffee, cocoa. You know, if we're not producing it ourselves, we're not functioning as a country.
I personally don't agree.
Imagine right now with this economy, which is struggling. Imagine with a war, an intervention, what's going to happen? Imagine. Things are going to get worse.
Our fear is running into those people and getting shot and killed for not doing anything. You know, that's our fear.
Fear is all around. Several people in this film wish to remain anonymous. I decided to face the fear and show my face. There is a deafening silence. I reunite with friends. They don't want to be part of the film, not even anonymously. They've been victims of the government's crackdown. But Eduardo Cadiz, a human rights defender, is not afraid of speaking openly. In 2024, he too was a political prisoner, just like around 1,900 others who protested the fraudulent elections.
I was transferred to El Helicoide, the largest torture center in Latin America. I was very afraid because I know firsthand what they've been doing there for many years. The torture they carry out in that detention center. From Zone 7, they transferred me to Hombre Nuevo, the prison in Tocoyito. Tocoyito is in the state of Carabobo. It's very hot there. The heat is brutal. The sports court traps the heat. They take a person down at noon. They handcuff their hands behind their back, then their ankles, and throw them on the ground face up for about 15 minutes, approximately. We didn't have a clock. Then they turn them over, another 15 minutes face down, and then 15 minutes face up. For 2, 4, 5 hours. We later learned they call it the grilled arepa, like a sandwich. And the bodies of political prisoners were the arepa. Round and round. I lost 42 kilos in 3.5 months. I was extremely thin. I looked very sick. I have a broad build, and with all the weight I lost, I looked like a corpse.
Eduard puts together packages of food and personal care items for the prisoners. Usually their families would bring them care packages. But many families have to travel hundreds of kilometers to the prison, a journey which they often can't afford. So, human rights activists step in. They buy what's needed with money from donations, which the government considers illegal, or they pay out of their own pocket.
There are people who have been missing for more than a year. Where are they? More than a year with no family contact. Your mind controls you. Your mind can destroy you faster than the torture you may face in prison. For many people, some may be young, economically and financially vulnerable, and who live far from Tocorón prison, getting there isn't an option. It's better to send them packages or medicines than to go and visit them. But physical contact for someone who's deprived of freedom is fundamental to being able to keep going. Because when you lose hope that someone is waiting for you, it diminishes your desire to live. Maria de Los Ángeles Castillo disappeared for 68 days and was held in the DGCIM, the counterintelligence police prison in Boleita, where she suffered cruel, inhuman treatment and terrible psychological violence that has left her scarred to this day. But what she says was the most damaging for her was the psychological terrorism, all the threats she received from the guards. And she's alone in Venezuela.
And her family?
They had to flee the country because of everything that happened, because they were after them too.
She was left alone.
She's alone. Her hope is the same as everyone else's. Hope for a change in the political system.
As Edouard walks to the prison gate, I film from within the car. I'm afraid. In Venezuela, voicing dissent is enough to get you accused of terrorism. Political prisoners are held incommunicado, without a trial or rights, by a system designed to sow fear in the population. In Caracas, out of sight, the horror hides everywhere. On the surface, a new monument, a gift from Russia, bearing a Soviet flag. Underneath it, an underground complex of cells kept at freezing temperatures. They call it La Tumba, the tomb. These are the Sabine headquarters, Venezuela's intelligence agency. Nearby is the most feared torture center in Venezuela, El Helicoide, decorated with Christmas lights.
Paren la mano enloquecida de quien ordena bombardear, matar y llevar una guerra a Sudamérica, al Caribe. ¡Detengan la guerra! Paz, vida y amor. No al odio, no a la guerra eterna y no a la muerte. No, no, no.
Pero cállate la boca, mano, que eres venezolano. Aquí somos los panitas, aquí están los chamos. Navidad sin actualidad, tu cara nos botamos. La cara triste que tienes de tantos gramos. Mi familia está contenta porque hoy vine a batallar. Porque hoy vine a demostrar mi talento y mi potencial. Mi familia, me falta un plato en la mesa por acompañar, pero al cielo se lo voy a mandar.
New Year's Eve in Caracas. Everyone is partying, no matter their political beliefs. Not far from here, the U.S. military continues to strike boats allegedly carrying drugs. But here, people seem impervious to the military tension that has gripped the country.
¿Por dónde nos vamos? Por allá. Dale, pues. Mucha gente, tanto yo como muchísimos de ustedes, tienen sus familiares afuera, pero eso no significa que no vamos a celebrar y que no vamos a reunirnos porque todos somos una gran familia y bueno, recibamos con toda la energía, la mejor energía este 2026.
To life. As we dance and celebrate, what will come of Trump's threats? There's hope, uncertainty, fear. And at home, another kind of uncertainty. How are we going to afford my mother's knee surgery without health insurance or a reliable public health system?
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Hello, how are you, doctor?
Gladys Ríos.
This is Gladys Rios. How are you?
Bueno, muy bien.
Oh, very good.
Llevando ahorita las
We're about to take my
cenizas
husband's
al
ashes to
mar,
the sea.
porque él quería
He wanted to be in the
meterse
sea.
en el mar, sí.
Mi tío Nelson.
Nelson didn't want to go to the doctor. He was very afraid that when he arrived, they would tell him he had to have a catheterization, and he worried about the cost. Like right now, the broken knee. We don't get any support, any healthcare assistance. He was wonderful, but it's all different now. All that remains are the ashes of his body, his DNA.
Pero no.
La Nochebuena es una de las celebraciones más esperadas por los cubanos. Para finalizar el
Cuba. We're talking about Cuba.
If you want, change the station. This is unbearable.
He used to come here to fish. I can see it clearly. I never came with him because that was before he met me. But he told me he would come and sit on that rock there to fish.
Really?
Yes.
Sí. Sí, ya me siento más.
I'm calmer now.
Sí. Él se queda aquí,
He's where he wanted to be.
donde él le gustaba.
Por allá se escuchan los aviones por allá.
Viene otro. Dale, vamos a salir aquí. Dale.
Marico, tengo el corazón mío.
Ya, marico.
Llama ya mismo.
Just a few hours after we scattered my second dad's ashes in the Caribbean Sea, the threat of a U.S. intervention becomes reality. It's the first time I've been woken up by the thunder of falling bombs. I want to hold my son. You can feel the planes overhead.
Ok, siguen las explosiones, se escuchan helicópteros, son las 1:58 de la mañana, están atacando el fuerte Fiuna. Bombardearon la escuela naval.
Ahí está.
There it is, look.
Ahí está, mira.
Una explosión horrorosa. Fueron varias explosiones.
Eso es la escuela
That's the Naval Academy. Citizen reporting, that's how we get news. Look, Mom.
I just saw it on my phone.
Wow.
Han habido detonaciones que se produjeron en la Gran Caracas en esta madrugada del día sábado 3 de enero del 2026. Las detonaciones empezaron aproximadamente a las 2 de la mañana, dicen 1 de la mañana hora local. Este sábado...
Is today Saturday?
Yes, the 3rd.
What did you just say?
They're also seeing Maduro's reaction. Let him go with this little gunfight.
But it's not a little gunfight, it's a bombing. The next morning, I go out to see how people are coping. But I don't dare get out of the car with the camera. I'm afraid. Security forces and armed civilians loyal to the government are checking people's phones, looking for signs they might be celebrating the military intervention. Oh man, and we thought we would be celebrating right now. The macaws, damn it. Sometimes I wish I were a macaw. Okay, let's go this way.
Bueno, vamos de aquí a allá.
People are charging their phones with the Christmas lights.
Aquí mismo están cargando las luces de Navidad.
Foto de Nicolás Maduro en manos del gobierno de los
the location of opposition leader Machado, and have you been in contact with her?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mr. President, how many hesitations about Machado?
I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within, or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect to be the leader.
Mr. President, is it possible that the U.S. ends up administrating Venezuela for years,
Well, it won't cost us anything because the money coming out of the ground is very substantial, so it's not going to cost us anything.
That woman struck a deal. She wasn't even here when it all happened. She negotiated with the U.S. government with Marco Rubio. And why isn't Maria Corina saying anything?
No habla.
They betrayed us.
I think it's a clever move by the American government. They're going to bring Maria Corina, but they're keeping it secret for now, so first they can come into the country. Because if they come with Maria Corina, there'll be trouble. So they're coming in with Delcy first to avoid problems. Then they'll leave, with Maria Corina in charge. You know it. I just saw it. I didn't send it to you because you don't like it when I send you videos. A video of Maria Corina saying dignity before anything else.
I'm going to call Uncle Luis.
Today, people speak without remorse.
Hola.
Uncle, it's great that you're here. My Uncle Luis is a champion of Nicolás Maduro and Chavism. He is involved in communal government projects. I join him at a demonstration supporting the swearing-in ceremony of former Vice President Delcy Rodriguez as interim president. She represents a continuation of the system.
Trump's argument that Maduro took people out of psychiatric hospitals and sent them over there, that's just a narrative.
No, but...
Maybe it works, I don't know.
But regarding the system of torture, it's real. There is a lot.
Well, we do not torture.
Yes, we do, Uncle. You'll see.
That flag. Beautiful Venezuela.
Honorables diputadas y diputados de la Asamblea Nacional de la República
This is historic.
de Venezuela.
El pueblo arrecho reclama su derecho. ¡Vamos todos!
El pueblo clama su derecho.
Pero ¡Trump, marico! ¡Devuelve los jalitos! ¡Trump, marico! ¡Devuelve los jalitos!
La gente está convencida.
These people know what they want. The thing is, the Venezuelan people are very chaotic, very disorganized. But they have been learning and building awareness. They know that their role is very important for what they're doing, creating a new society, an exemplary society, like the one Bolivar created. The balance of the universe.
El equilibrio del universo.
Acto de juramentación.
Ciudadana Delcy Eloína Rodríguez Gómez. Jura usted, en el nombre de Dios Todopoderoso. Jura por su honor. Jura por el pueblo de Venezuela que espera ser conducido a un camino de prosperidad y grandeza. Cumplir y hacer cumplir la Constitución de la República Bolivariana de Venezuela.
Vengo con dolor, pero debo decir que vengo también con honor a jurar en nombre de todos los venezolanos y en nombre de todas las venezolanas, vengo a jurar de nuestro Padre Libertador en su discurso en Angostura, garantizar un gobierno que dé felicidad social, estabilidad política y seguridad política. Juro por Bolívar, juro por nuestros libertadores, que juremos como un solo país para sacar adelante a Venezuela en estas horas terribles de amenaza contra la estabilidad y la paz de la nación. Juro.
The government declared Maduro the winner of the 2024 elections. For most Venezuelans, the fraud was obvious. Rumors spread that Los Colectivos, armed civilians loyal to the government, are patrolling the streets today. I'm going to visit a friend who is a social leader in Petare, the largest impoverished barrio in Caracas. Some of the murals created by young people in the community have not been replaced by government propaganda. My friend works to empower young artists. She is politically persecuted and prefers to remain anonymous.
My fear is that young people, children, will not have a country that can move forward. Damn it! Why couldn't they have done things differently? Why did they not heed the will for change of our nation? Millions of Venezuelans inside the country, because those living abroad weren't allowed to vote, voted for a political change. Why was it so difficult to accept that? After 6 years, they could have gotten back in the game. In a democratic country, you get this opportunity to run again in an election every 6 years. But now it's all, oh poor you, international law, human rights. All of a sudden, those are things that Latin America and other regions have? They all stayed quiet when the regime went after all these people. Years of silence. I'm in a group from an important world institution. There's always 2 or 3 Venezuelans trying to expose the situation with the political prisoners. We've been trying to do that for a long time, and nobody ever responds.
El gobierno bolivariano ha decidido la puesta en libertad de un número importante de personas.
Emocionante. Vamos, mi amor. Ahora porque ya está el amigo checo que los papás.
Y estos procesos de excarcelación están ocurriendo desde este mismo momento.
Incredible.
Ay, Dios mío. Bye, Rocío.
Rocio's been released, thank God. That's great. Oh my God, Rocio is being released. Oh my God, Rocio, what a good woman. Imagine, Rocio San Miguel has been in prison for 23 months.
Imagínate, 23 meses ya tiene presa Rocío San Miguel. Hola, Milita, por favor.
Milita, please tell your daughter to contact me. I'll be at the gates of El Valle prison waiting for any woman who comes out. I'll be there, dressed in black. I'll be there.
Ahí voy a estar yo. Voy a estar todo vestido de negro.
We're also going to El Rodeo to be there for a release of whoever comes out. In Rodeo 1, 2, and 3, there's a single gate. Of course, our political prisoners are in Rodeo 1 and Rodeo 2. Remember that the torture zone is Rodeo 1. I'm here in front of the women's prison in El Valle waiting for anyone to come out, for them to start appearing. We already have other people at El Helicoide, and others are on their way to El Rodeo as well. That's how we're doing it.
Good afternoon. It's almost 6 p.m. and we're here outside El Rodeo with many family members waiting for answers. So far, the authorities have not reported any releases. We're still here waiting for concrete information. Thank you.
Outside Venezuela's prisons, families of political prisoners and activists have gathered. This kind of gathering would have been unthinkable before the military intervention. For now, many families are still waiting, and those who have been released live with the fear that they could be detained again at any moment.
They won't let him go up to the helicoide because they aren't giving access to family members.
Well, I am related to a political prisoner.
We all have family members in there, thank you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Anabel. You're so young.
I think that's the biggest hug we've given each other.
They still haven't been released, and we're still waiting. Like at other prisons in the country, the families are outside, making sure that they release the people they said they'd be letting out, but also demanding the full and unconditional freedom of all political prisoners in Venezuela. The repression must cease. They are already with their families, with their wives. Vladimir Viega just posted a video showing Enrique Marquez hugging his wife. And Viaggio as well with his wife.
On Instagram?
On Instagram. We've been waiting all day. So far, they haven't said a word. They haven't published anything officially. It's appalling, inconceivable. How can a country function like this? People can't rely on their institutions, can't seek help from a court that is supposed to follow the rules. But they don't give you any information. They turn you away. They don't accept your paperwork. What is that? How can a country work like this? That's why we're fighting, so this can end, so we can once again have justice in our country.
It is a slap in the face. I am shocked to hear that the Americans are taking control of Venezuela's oil industry. I meet with an executive from an oil shipping company, trying to understand what it means. He, too, asks to remain anonymous.
I believe that in the end, it's not like everyone is going to say that the U.S. should have access to our resources. Obviously, no Venezuelan wants that. They think that's bad. But the truth is that those resources aren't reaching Venezuelans anyway, not in our current situation, where Venezuelans are receiving very little. And if now under U.S. management you receive 90%, where before you didn't get anything, that would be a total radical change.
We have lived through an extreme economic collapse that has radically altered our lives. It has torn families apart, led to exile, hunger, deaths. The oil industry, the backbone of our country, lies in ruins, crushed by corruption, mismanagement, and sanctions. The promise of new opportunities under U.S. oversight is seductive, but what about Venezuelans' participation in these decisions?
In recent years, activity in the oil sector has been decreasing dramatically. From serving 120 ships per month, we went to about 15 ships, something like that. Our clients changed. Before we had many American clients, European clients, but that's changed. And now we ship oil to the Russians, Chinese, Iranians, and Cubans. I think this is going to be a significant change. American companies have already started contacting us. Many of them used to be our clients, but they disappeared. ConocoPhillips, ExxonMobil, BitOil, Valeros. Many of them are the same as before. They know their way around and are used to working with natural oil. Everything's moving really fast. I hope everything goes well because I think it's in everyone's best interest. We're already getting a lot of calls. It's a strange situation.
It's a whole different Venezuela, and Venezuela is going to be very successful, and the people of the United States are going to be big beneficiaries because we're going to be extracting, numbers of, in terms of oil, like few people have ever seen, actually. So you're dealing with us directly. You're not dealing with Venezuela at all. We don't want you to deal with Venezuela.
Right now, Donald Trump holds my country's oil industry in his hands. There has been no change of government. People are demanding spaces for change, and there are glimmers of hope. Yet despite the cracks appearing, allowing the light in, the police system is still spreading fear among the people, and repression continues. I wonder whether we'll truly transition to democracy. What will the future be? The future of our children, our young people.